Storytime robbed. I, 24 female, had always known that my job was super dangerous, but a month ago something happened that forced me to realize just how dangerous it was. At the time I worked nights at a gas station, usually by myself. It was a really safe neighborhood, and there were tons of cameras all over the building, so I never gave it much thought. But after everything that happened, I decided to quit, and I haven't worked nights since. If you've ever worked in retail or customer service, then you know there's always that one customer who's weird. Well, for me his name was Gary. He would come into the store almost every night around 2 in the morning. But he wouldn't buy anything. It made me uncomfortable, but what could I have done? It is a store that's open to the public. Usually Gary would come into the store, walk around a bit, and then he would just leave. Even when I tried to say hi first, or make conversation, he would just ignore me, and do his walk-around routine. I made sure I talked to my manager about it, and he told me it was no big deal. But the whole thing made me feel funny. I was almost positive Gary was looking around to find the best way to rob the place. But if my manager didn't care, I figured whatever. Fast forward to a week before I learned the truth about Gary. Like always, he comes into the store, walks around, but this time he doesn't leave. He walks over to the aisle directly in front of where my checkout spot is, and he just stares at me. I was so uncomfortable I could feel my stomach turning, and I thought I was going to be sick. I tried saying hello to him, and nothing. Tried asking him if he needed help, still nothing. Then I asked him if he wanted anything specific, and what he said next made my mouth go dry. This huge toothless grin spread across his face, and he started nodding yes. He looked right at me, and said I'm staring at all the specific I want. I was so nervous in that moment that I still can't believe I didn't throw up. I told him he needed to leave if he wasn't going to buy anything. I didn't expect him to, but I was so relieved when he started walking to the door. The entire time he just stared at me, and then he was gone. Gary didn't come back into the gas station for the next couple of days, but when he did, he changed my life forever. It was way after 2 in the morning, so I thought I was safe. But when I heard the little bell over the door ring, I looked up to see him standing there. You know how people say they left their body? Well, I get it now. I felt like I was watching the whole thing play out from somewhere else. Gary was wearing a suit and carrying flowers. He could have been going on a date, but my gut told me he was dressed just for me. I didn't have to wait long before he made every nightmare I was dreaming up a reality. As he walked towards me holding out the flowers and wearing that same toothless grin, he shouted, "Where should we go on our first date, Mrs. Gary Lockheed?" I knew if he got me out of that gas station, I would never be seen alive again. I almost didn't do it, but I pushed the panic button underneath the counter. Gary was still walking towards me, and I knew I had to get somewhere with a door. But the only place I could lock myself in was behind him. I didn't know if I would make it in time, but I didn't have any other option. I pretended to walk over to him, and when I saw my chance I took it. I didn't turn around once, and the entire time I was running to the closet I thought Gary would grab me, but he didn't. I got to the closet, locked myself in, and waited for the banging to start, but it never did. A little while later I heard someone shouting, "This is the police," and opened the door, not even realizing it could be him pretending. Thankfully it wasn't, and I was finally safe. But it wasn't over. After I told the police everything, they searched for Gary. They never found him, but they did find his car still parked behind the gas station. Inside they found rope, tape, things to carve with, and worst of all, a machine used to restart someone's heart. I still have no idea what Gary had planned for me, but I still can't believe at one point my biggest fear was getting robbed.